I've tutored many different algebra students who are struggling with their homework or their exams, and I've noticed that they all have one thing in common. 95% of the time, these students were not able to understand the lesson because they were missing a previous concept that they were expected to know. So no matter where you are in math, if you just take a few minutes to learn these algebra basics, you will already be ahead of most students. So first of all, what even is algebra? Well, algebra is just regular math, except we throw in these letters here. We have all sorts of letters in algebra, and we call them variables. A variable is basically just some sort of unknown number. So in this problem, x could be 3, or it could be 7, it could be any number. The only thing is that because there are two x's in this problem, those both would have to be the same number. Now for this first concept, we need to simplify this expression. What that basically means is that this is more complicated than it needs to be. And so we need to shorten this down as much as possible. Now, the most obvious way to do this is to just add up numbers like regular math. So 4 plus 8, well, that's 12. So we're going to have a 12 in our simplification. But in algebra, you're allowed to add together any like terms. And like terms are just like numbers, as we saw before, but also anything that has the same letter. So 3x and 2x both have an x, which means that we can add them together. 3 plus 2 is 5. So those are going to combine into 5x. Now, as you can see, we've shortened this down into just two terms. A term is just like a number, basically. But can we add these two together? Well, no, we can't actually, because this has a letter, it has x, and this one doesn't. So because we know exactly what 12 is, but we have no idea what x is, there's no way for us to add these, which means that 12 plus 5x is the most simplified version. Now, before we get into the next problem, I just wanted to tell you quickly about something that could help you if you're struggling with algebra. I mentioned earlier that students are usually missing different math concepts that they're supposed to know. And I've noticed that a lot of students now are using AI to help them with this. I think that that can be helpful, but the only problem with it is it usually just gives you the answer, which doesn't really help you learn. So if you're looking for something better, I would recommend you check out Brilliant, who were kind enough to sponsor this video. So here's an example of how it works. Here I've got a problem, and let's say that I have no clue what the answer is. So I'm going to ask the tutor for help.
Let's try a test point.
You'll see that he doesn't just tell me what the answer is, he gives me an example to get me thinking logically. And so I think it's this point right here.
See a pattern?
So now I think we can go ahead and get the answer correct. I think it's this. This is something that I think would have been super helpful in high school. If I was struggling on a certain topic, I could go in here and learn it. So if this sounds interesting to you, you can click the link below or scan the QR code to get started with Brilliant's Tutor for free. You can upgrade to premium to unlock all the courses, and right now you can save 20% off an annual subscription by going to brilliant.org/numbernerd. And thank you again to Brilliant for sponsoring the video. I appreciate it. Now, what about this one? This one is just the same thing, except we have two different letters. We have an X and a Y. So X and Y can be two different numbers. They don't affect each other. So remember that we can add together any like terms. So I'm seeing here we have two terms with an X. We have a 6x and a minus 4x. One of the keys of algebra is that minus signs always stay with their numbers. So we have to do 6 minus 4, which is 2. And so those are going to combine into 2x. What about the ones with y? We have a 3y, and then we have just a y by itself. Well, here's the key thing here. A number and a letter next to each other, those are multiplication. I know there's no sign in between, but that's what it means. A number next to a letter is multiplication, which means that this y could also be written as 1y. There's like an invisible 1 because anything times 1 is itself. So we have 3y, and then we're adding another y, so that makes 4y. So that's what those are going to combine into. And now finally, the only one we haven't done anything with is this plus 7. But there are no other numbers for it to combine with, so we're just going to have to attach it at the end. And there are no more like terms here. There's nothing else we can combine, so this is our final simplified form. Okay, so for the last couple problems, we had no way of knowing what x or y were equal to, right? They were unknown numbers. But this time we have an equal sign in the equation, which means that now we can figure out what x is equal to, and that's the goal of this problem. If you want, you can think of this like a fill-in-the-blank problem. You can think of it as 4 times, because remember this is multiplication when there's no sign in between, 4 times blank equals negative 20. And maybe you could figure that out in your head, maybe not. But for more complicated algebra problems, we're never going to be able to figure this out in our head. So we have a system for solving these equations. To solve any kind of solve for x problem, you always want to isolate the variable, which basically means we need to get x by itself on one side of the equation. For this problem, we can do that in one step. We just need to get rid of this 4. If we did that, then it would just say x equals something. And that's what we're trying to figure out. What does x equal? Now, here's the key rule. We can do whatever we want to this equation as long as we do it to both sides. Like we can add 2 to both sides, we can multiply 3 to both sides, whatever we want. So I'm noticing that because this is multiplication, I think we should do the opposite of that, which is division, and divide this by 4. That'll cancel out this 4. But we have to do it to both sides. So I'm going to divide both sides of the equation by 4. Now, multiplying by 4 and dividing by 4 are opposites, so those are going to cancel each other out. And on the left side, we're just going to have the letter x, and that was our goal, right? Over here, we have 20 divided by 4, which is 5. And then we have one minus sign that we can't forget, so the minus sign is going to stay. And there we go. It's telling us what x is equal to. It's saying it's equal to -5. So that is the answer to this problem. Now let's try to do the same thing for this problem. Let's try to get x by itself to find out what it's equal to. It's a little bit more difficult this time because we have two things we have to get rid of. We need to get rid of this 3 that's being divided. Remember that fractions are the same as division. And we also have to get rid of this +2. Now technically you can get rid of whichever one you want first. I think that it's best to go in the reverse order of PEMDAS. I don't know if you remember learning this in a previous math class, but this is just the order of operations, the order that you do things in. So when you're solving for x, it's usually best to go in reverse order. So start with your addition and subtraction, then get rid of your multiplication and division, then your exponents, and then your parentheses. So I'm going to start by getting rid of this +2. And the way you do that is with the opposite of plus, which is minus. But remember, you have to do it to both sides. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides of the equation. So +2 and -2, those turn into 0, so they cancel out. And on the left, we just have x divided by 3. On the right side of the equal sign, we have -4 -2. Now, when I was tutoring people, a lot of them were confused about negative numbers. So here's how I like to think of it. Think of it as dollars or as money. So -4 means you lost $4. Then -2 means you lost another $2. So in total, you've lost $6, so -6. And now we just have one more step to get x by itself, and that is to get rid of this 3. It's being divided, so let's do the opposite of dividing, which is multiplying. And multiplying you can represent with a little dot. We usually do that because using an x is kind of confusing because we already have x in algebra. So we usually use dots instead. So the multiplying 3 and the dividing by 3 cancel out. On the left, we just have the letter x. And on the right, we have -6 times 3. Well, 6 times 3 is 18. And we have one minus sign, so that is going to stay. Which means that our final answer here is x is equal to -18. One more thing to note, if you weren't sure if you did this right, what you can do is you can go to the original equation. And remember, this is a fill-in-the-blank problem, right? So theoretically, if this is correct, you should be able to replace x with -18 and then just solve this and make sure it's equal to -4. So that's one way to check your work if you're not sure you did it right. Now, being able to solve for x is one of the most important algebra skills, and graphing is almost just as important. Basically, we need to graph this equation that we have up there, which has an x and a y. Now, the idea of an equation like this with two letters is that you can plug in numbers for one letter and find out what the other letter is. Usually, we use x for plugging in and y for getting out. And you'll see an example of that in the next problem. But for this, we basically just want to plot a graph that shows all of the different possibilities for this equation. And for graphing a straight line, the best way to understand it is with slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. You'll see that this equation is already in this form, right? We have y equals, m represents a number, so a number times x plus a number. Sometimes it's not in that form and you have to move stuff around, but for this, we don't need to do that. So what do these letters even mean? Well, x and y are just going to stay as x and y. That's the whole point of an equation. But the other letters stand for something else. So the M stands for slope, and the letter B stands for the y-intercept. I was not the one that picked these letters, so don't get mad at me. So the y-intercept is a little bit easier to understand, so let's do that one first. The y-intercept here is 2. And that's basically where it crosses the y-axis, which is this big vertical line that has the letter y. This one right here, the horizontal one, is always the x-axis. So when it says the y-intercept is 2, that just means that if we were to go from the middle of the graph 2 squares upward, that's where it's going to cross the y-axis. So like the line could be like this, or our line could be like this. I don't know. It could be any of those, but it's going to cross two squares up on the y-axis. But we do need one more point to be able to connect them up and make a line. So to figure out that second point, let's take a look at the slope, which is 1/2. The slope formula is really important to know, which is rise over run. And if you go ahead and plug the slope into this, which is 1/2, this is going to tell you how to find another point on the line. So because the slope is 1/2 and slope is rise over run, that means the rise is 1 and the run is 2. So we can just do that to this point to find out the location of another point. So let's start by rising 1 square, and then we can run just means going to the right. We can run 1 2 squares. And when you do that, you can plot another point on the line. It'll be right here. Now, technically, you can do that as many times as you want. You can rise 1 and run 2, and then there will be another point here, and so on. But we really only need 2 points to be able to plot a line. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. So now we just need to connect these 2 dots up. And in algebra, usually lines go infinitely in both directions. So I'm going to draw this continuing on and going on into infinity. That's what these little arrows mean. So I know that might have been a little confusing, but the more that you practice graphing straight lines, the better you'll get at it. And it's a pretty important algebra skill. All right, let's talk a little bit about functions. I know that this seems kind of scary because like we have a little f of x there. Like what is that? Well, f of x is basically just another way to write the letter y. And this is basically the same thing as our graph earlier. Like it wouldn't be a straight line because there's an exponent, but you could plot this on a graph if you wanted to. But for this, we don't need to do that. Instead, we just need to find f of 2. So what does that mean? Well, whenever you have f of a number in parentheses, what that's telling you is that you should plug that number in for x and then see what you get for y, or f of x. So when it says to find f of 2, that means we just need to rewrite this equation, but instead of x, we're going to write 2 each time. Now, when we do this, I'm going to put 2 in parentheses. And the reason I'm doing that is just so that we don't get confused, because I don't want to think that this is 32 squared, right? It's not. It's actually multiplication because there's no sign in between the number and the letter. So 3 times 2 squared plus 5 times 2, instead of x, I'm going to write 2, minus 8. And now to find f of 2, I just need to solve this right side of the equation. Don't worry about the f of 2 part right now. We're just trying to figure out what that's equal to. So I'm going to use PEMDAS, right? And PEMDAS says that we should do exponents before multiplication and division and all that. So there's an exponent right here, 2 to the power of 2. That's 2 times itself, which is 4. So 3 times 4 instead of 2 squared plus 5 times 2 minus 8. Okay, next we need to do our multiplication and division. We don't have division here, so let's do our multiplication. So 3 times 4 is 12 plus 5 times 2 is 10 minus 8. And now we just have addition and subtraction. So 12 plus 10 is 22, and 22 minus 8 is 14, which means that the answer to f of 2 is 14. So those were some of the most important things that you need to know to succeed in algebra. But if you feel like you still need more of a refresher, I have a longer version of this video where I go over some more difficult problems. So if you want to check that out, then this is the video you'll want to watch next. If you have any questions about anything I went over in this video, go ahead and leave a comment and I'll be sure to answer your question. Thanks for watching and good luck on your algebra journey.